The individual, Hadush Kebatu, has been given £76, we learn, as subsistence payments in order to cover his first week expenses. Well, who better to bring into the conversation than Peter Bleksley, former Scotland Yard detective, who became known as the Chief on Channel 4's Hunted programme, who specialises, of course, in tracking people down. Peter, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
What a mess.
What an appalling, catastrophic disaster. And let's call it what it is. It's all very well using acceptable language. Kebatu is a dangerous, dirty, stinking, predatory paedophile. And he's on the streets. And it's utterly, utterly appalling. And as for the roll of shame, well, take your pick. Lord Timpson, Prisons Minister. David Lammy, Justice Minister. Shabana Mahmood, Home Secretary. And so it goes.
And it's not a new issue. I mean, this is an appalling incident purely because of the nature of this man's crime, sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl and another woman. But, I mean, 262 prisoners, we learn, who were released in error over the last year. I mean, that's got to be a concern for people, hasn't it?
Indeed, and as a prison governor who previously contributed said, the prison system is in a complete mess, but the entire criminal justice system is an absolute shambles. Let's take the front end, which is policing. We all know about the challenges and the failures of policing. Then we go to the next phase, the Crown Prosecution Service, underfunded, overworked, not performing as it should do. Then, of course, we go to the courts, leaking roofs, rubbish IT, empty courts without judges hearing cases, backlog as long as your arm, absolutely appalling. Prisons, which we're focusing on today, and then, of course, the probation service, the real kind of back end of that criminal justice system. That is massively underperforming as well. And what does it all come down to? We're all less safe. Crime is rampant. People are flooding into this country who shouldn't be here. Kebatu shouldn't have even been in the UK, let alone be deported. Let's not lose sight of that. And with each and every one of these failings, we all become less safe.
I mean, he was an asylum seeker, wasn't he? But certainly after this, he was eligible for deportation.
He should not have been in this country. He came here illegally under Section 3 of the Immigration Act, 1971. If you enter the UK without leave to remain, you are an illegal immigrant.
You and I can both agree that he clearly should not be in this country anymore. But of course, he did claim asylum when he arrived, which does, and under current law for this government, it does.
Under current law, if you come into the UK without leave to remain under Section 3 of the Immigration Act, 1971,
you can claim asylum,
you're an illegal.
You can claim asylum and get processed. But anyway, I take your point, and that's your view. But on the solution here, because you talk about the back end of the criminal justice system, let's look at those sort of probation officers, for example, prison officers. What is the solution to that, aside from just chucking more money at them? I mean, what needs to happen in prisons, for example, do you think?
They need to be run effectively. You need to properly train staff. You need to recruit staff properly. You need to pay them a wage that they can live a decent kind of life on. And you should not, as the situation now is, have young people coming into the prison system where they might have to work 50 years to get a pension. That's ludicrous. Nobody can do 50 years of holding the keys and shutting the doors. It's just unsustainable.
But also, who'd want to do that job now? I mean, under any circumstance, but particularly now.
People not so long ago used to do that career for some decades, get a decent pension at the end of it, and have a fulfilling career where they really made a difference, where they saw people rehabilitate, where they saw people turn their lives around, come out of prison and then contribute to society, which is what everybody wants. Punishment without rehabilitation is an utter waste of time, effort and money.
The main reason we really wanted to speak with you, Peter, was obviously, given you were a detective, given obviously you work with Hunted, for example, what happens now? What exactly is going on behind the scenes at New Scotland Yard?
Well, there's echoes of a couple of recent cases here. Let's rewind not so far to Daniel Khalife, who escaped from Wandsworth Prison. OK, huge resources were put to try to find him, and that took 3 days. If we go to Abdul Azidi, the chemical attacker, who then went on the run, once again, huge resources. He killed himself not long after that attack because it was established he must have gone off a bridge and jumped in the Thames. So they will find him. It will take time, because if you're going to successfully stay on the run, you need a network, generally speaking, because somebody's got to feed you, clothe you, put a roof over your head, and supply you with cash. And I think it's unlikely that Kebatu has a pre-established network all willing to do that. Of course, if they do, by the way, they're committing a very serious crime.
Yes, and of course, I mean, I don't know if you've seen these social media videos that were doing the rounds yesterday, but I mean, he does just seem to be wandering the streets and just talking to people, presumably to ask where the train station is or if he can have a bit of cash.
Yes, quite possibly. And of course, the police will know an awful lot more than we do. And I'm not surprised that they're keeping things fairly quiet at the moment. There is such a massive embarrassment here on the government, on the prison system, and basically on the reputation of Britain, that they will be wanting to have him in handcuffs as soon as they possibly can.
And just to go back to the question I asked you previously, you'd have Scotland Yard, i.e. the Met Police, Essex Police, British Transport Police, we understand, all working on this in tandem. What will they be combing through CCTV? Will they be calling up people working at train stations? I mean, how exactly are they going to piece this all together, Peter?
You follow the trail, and as far as we think we know at the moment, the latest part of that was him getting on the train. Now, if he's coming to London, it is one of the most surveilled cities in the world, and there is CCTV systems on all kinds of transport networks. If, however, and some people don't always appreciate this, the value of a negative CCTV sighting. Say, for example, somebody exits from a tube station and you examine CCTV, which covers if they turned left, and you don't see them there, then that negative sighting tells you immediately, well, they must have gone in another direction. And it's often overlooked. A negative CCTV sighting is usually very, very helpful because it steers you into another direction, which is a more likely route they've taken. So through a process of elimination, and of course there might be thousands of hours already from many, many different cameras that need to be reviewed, they'll hopefully be following a trail, pick that up. At some point, if they don't find him, I would imagine today, there'd be a public appeal. Have you got any doorbells? Have you got any dash cam footage? That kind of stuff. But they'll be hoping that they can get him back into prison without the help of the public.
And just lastly on that, but by this time, you imagine police will have CCTV of him, surely, that they're following from the station,
Yes.
as you say, most surveyed place. So we presumably, at some point today, it all being well, will have at least an area where police fear he may be or will have gone to.
The police will call on the media and the public help as and when they need it. For the time being, I would think they're fairly confident that they're going to get him soon. But if that is not the case, then they'll be swift to let us know, and they'll want to get us all on board with our eyes and our ears.